So this is actually section 3.3. I need to change that. So we're looking at when a is not equal to 1 now. So the last one we did, all of them a equals 1. Now a does not. So I'm going to start with factored form. And we're going to remember what the multiplication looks like for that, and then we'll factor back. So here I have two binomials. Remember, I take the first term and I multiply that to both terms in the second binomial. So 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times 5 is 15x. Then we do the same thing with the second term in the first binomial. We're going to multiply that to both terms here. So negative 4 times 2, negative 8x, negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. And then we would add those middle two to be 15 minus 8 is 7x, and then the minus 20. All right, so now we're going to factor this back to factored form. So say we're just given this. So first thing, you always want to check for greatest common factor. If you factor that out, it makes it a lot easier to work with. So I have 6, 7, and 20. There's not a greatest common factor for that, so we're just going to move on. Okay, step 2, identify a, b, and c. So remember our standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. So a is 6, b is 7, and c is negative 20. Our next step, we're going to multiply a and c together. So 6 times negative 20 is, and I have my calculator open, it's negative 120, but let's just type it in to be sure, negative 120. And we're going to do what we did before. We're going to find factors of that, of negative 120, that add or subtract to 7. So when I find factors, I look at it as it'd be positive. I'm not going to write all the positive and negatives out. So 1 times 120, 2 times 60, 3 times 40, 5 times 24. Remember, I'm trying to add or subtract to 7. So we're not there yet. 6 and 20. 7, 8, and 15. There we go. I'm going to stop because 15 minus 8 is 7. So when we were factoring in the last section, we would just take these two numbers and they would be in our factors. We're not going to do that. We're going to go back here. So remember, we had 6x squared plus 7x minus 20. We're going to rewrite the 7 using 15 and 8. So instead of 7, I'm going to rewrite what we did here. I'm going to have 15x, there's an x, don't forget the x, minus 8x. And then the 6x squared and the 20 just come along. So I want you to notice what we just wrote here is this. Okay, remember, we're going backwards to factored form. We're going to see all of these steps pop up. So we just wrote this out. Whoa. Okay, now we're going to factor. So next step is rewrite using b using the factors. We did that. We rewrote 7 using the factors. And then we're going to group the first two terms and the last two terms. So grouping, I'm going to put parentheses around the first two terms and around the second two terms. I grouped the first two, grouped the second two. That's it. That's grouping. It's just adding the parentheses. And then we're going to take out the greatest common factor from each group. So if I have 6x squared plus 15x, that's my first group. What's the greatest common factor of these? Well, they both have an x. Remember, this is from the first section. And then 6 and 15 both divide by 3. So my greatest common factor here is 3x. So I'm going to take that out and write it in factored form. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. I started with 2 x's and I took out 1. And then 15 divided by 3 is 5. Okay, my second group is negative 8x minus 20. And now I'm just going to look at that group. What's the greatest common factor? Well, only one term has an x, so x isn't included, but we have 8 and 20. So what's the greatest that divides by? 4. And if they're both negative, I want you to take the negative. So we're going to take out a negative 4. And we're left with positive 2x, negative 8 divided by negative 4, negative 20 divided by negative 4, positive 5. Do you see where we are now? This is equal to this. We just rewrote that step. So we're almost done. So now we need to get from here, to the beginning. So what do? We take what we took out. We took out the 3x and we took out the minus 4. That's one factor. So what we took out, 3x, that's not a negative, and the minus 4. And then this one that we have twice is the same because it's one binomial. We just wrote it twice to make sure we distributed. And that is how we go to factored form. It takes a while. The more you do it, the better you'll get.